Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. Batten down the hatches, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for a stormy and bumpy ride. This is the new map, CHAMBERG Valley by erShaba, 244.94 megabytes to download. There are a couple of versions of this. I'm going to show you a very short clip. Yesterday, the 10th of March, a load of erShaba's mods and maps had updates, and a couple of new factories were released as a separate mod. Those two factories are here as a fixed in place thing on this map. Now, I will also stipulate that all the stuff on this map tour, it does say on the mod hub that to experience this map to its full potential, it is advised to play on New Farmer. There are a couple of reasons for that, and I'll explain as we go round. So of the two maps, what you want to do is you want to choose productions, so CHAMBERG Valley productions, if you want to have the factories enabled. If you don't, then you want the other version. Now, the seasons mod is not compatible with factories, that's why there's the other version. What we'll do is cross the road and we'll have a look at the map and see where we start. This is your farmhouse and your sleep trigger, which is just in here. Now on New Farmer, this is fixed in place. On Farm Manager and Start from Scratch, it's not. So that's one of the first things we need to be aware of. What we'll do is jump onto the map. Here's the map. To say that it's a maze is an understatement. We have got roads that go all over the place, but we've got roads that go over roads, under roads, and the network doesn't all tie up without doing very big loops round all over the place. But with most of them, there are points where you can cut across fields to go between the different road networks. Again, you'll see that as we go round. What do we start with on New Farmer? We start with field 30 and the main farm area. There's a bridge that goes up across and kind of splits the yard a little bit. Well, the yard is underneath it, but it does kind of split it. We have got 3 sets of animals on here, although only two are showing. The third one we'll get to later on. There are 2 additional crop types on here. We have got tomatoes and chickpeas. The tomatoes aren't in greenhouses either, they're out in the field. Again, we'll get to those, we'll explain how those work, but that's pretty cool, having tomatoes as something new on here. We can have sheep milk as well now, so the sheep will produce milk, they'll also produce manure, and they'll also produce slurry, which is nice because one of those things people have often said, sheep would be producing manure and that kind of thing. So on here, they can and they will. So on New Farmer, it's using 855 out of 1299 slots. It's a big map, it's a complicated map, there's loads of stuff you start with, and that's the mode they're suggesting you start on. If you come onto this on Farm Manager or start from scratch, that slot count will drop down to 498, but it will look something like this. And you will start with nothing, but there's a catch to that. If you start with nothing, there are certain elements that you start with on New Farmer that aren't available as an additional mod in here, so you can't then put them in later. You'd have to use all your own stuff. However, on Farm Manager and Start from Scratch, because you don't have the farmhouse here, it does mean you can place your farmhouse wherever you like. I would say preamble, there's so much information to get through. Let's move down to the yard and let's get started with what we actually begin with. We have got storage for 80,000 litres of slurry and digestate. It gets put in here and we can take it out from here. Built into the hillside, very nice indeed. We've got a silo around to the side here. It's not a bunker silo or anything like that, it's just a kind of storage bit. I'll open the side panel. As you can see, there's nothing saying chaff or anything like that. And then as we go around the yard, we do have various, this is the main silo, just here. We'll have capacities in just a second. We have got storage for potatoes and sugar beet, we have got storage for, I can't remember which one's which. Was this one fertilizer? This one might be lime. So we've got storage for lime in here, out here. We've also got storage for seed. We've got storage for fertilizer. That one is your seed storage just here. Normally you can tell by the grate actually. Yeah, that's the seed one. It's not always as easy with the lime and the fertilizer. Barns and buildings around the yard, and then we've also got, this one is the hayloft. The hayloft needs to be activated for it to work. You can see the hay on the floor. We'll have a look at what we start with in just a moment. If I come onto here and we go to enter vehicle, start engine, and then turn on hay blower. So what should happen now is when you reverse up to here, you can back up, you can put in your hay and it will store it, and then when you want to take it out, I think it has to be turned on as well. When you come to take it out, it will say what you've got, and then you come onto there and take it out, but it has to be turned on and off. We have a straw one as well, which is a bit further around the yard, which we'll get to in just a second. So let's stop engine on there and exit that. As we carry on through the yard, we are going to go to, we've got some storage under here. This big building, all kind of built into the hillside. Very intricate, very detailed. We'll get our tractors. Now I was going to grab a pickup actually, I forgot to do that because I thought it'd be quicker getting around the map in a pickup. I might still do that. I'll do one of my, bear with me just a minute, and I'll go and grab one and we'll come back with a pickup because it will be quicker. So tucked underneath here we've got storage for our tractors. Bit more storage here for vehicles or anything else you want. Then we go under the bridge and we've got a fuel point here. That is empty and needs to be filled. I think it's 25,000 litres. But we do have a little tanker that will do fuel just there. Front loader gear, and then as we come round, I'm not quite sure what this is. Not a sell point or anything. Whether they're able to be used, I don't think they are, because it doesn't come up with anything saying they're too heavy. I think they're just there for show, maybe. We have got some grasswork gear, so we've got our windrower, we've got our mower, we've got a fertilizer spreader. As we follow on round, more barn and building space. Workshop is just here, and then we have got a very old bison. Now the bison and its header, as you can see, are filthy. They're both in the red on the machinery. This one is, if the other one was lime, this is fertilizer storage, just here. And then as we go down the ramp around the side here, say the ramp, the slope, it's not a ramp, is it? But more storage, straw barn, straw loft, same thing, enter it, turn it on, or start engine, turn it on. That's where your straw can be stored. And then we've got storage here for sugar cane and tomatoes. Very cool indeed. That's the main yard. So what we'll do, actually we'll go on to that one. Let's go to garage. So this is all what you start with. We start with a Valtra M134, the Fiat 1300, Puma 185 CVX, Bison Super Z056, an SEK02 trailer, header for the Bison. And we've seen all this stuff, but just, you know. The Axis 402, fertilizer spreader, mower, windrower. We have got a loading wagon. Where was that? I missed that. Loading wagon, I think it was in one of the shelters going around. Front loader gear, weight, special tank for liquids, that is modded in here. Hay and straw blowers. Now this is where it's worrying, because that says mods on there, but these aren't available in the menu. We'll check that in just a second. This is the interesting one then. As you can see, no farmhouse. So on New Farmer, you can't sell your farmhouse and move it. But what there is this on the end here. Perimeter fencing of all farms. Now, think and decide if you want to play with or without. If you sell them, there is no turning back. There is no function to put the fences back on again afterwards. My advice, having been around the map, trying to find routes around everywhere, I personally would turn them off. You'll see as we go around, what we'll do, we'll go around, we'll see a few of them, and then we'll switch them off, because it can be a little bit frustrating. But I mean, that's a personal choice. Of course it is a personal preference, as all these things are. Now, what do we need to talk about? We'll talk about some as we get around. Some contracts are available. Oh yeah, field prices. We didn't talk about field prices, did we? Field prices are pretty good. I mean, they're up there. We have got plots and parcels of land. Some are individual, some aren't. There's not really, I'm trying to think, as I went round before, there aren't any very cheap ones. It's not like you can pick up a plot of land for 40 grand and kind of build from there. They're all pretty up there. I mean, even the biogas plant, which you don't start with, the biogas plant is 248,000, but it comes with a field. So you can't just buy the biogas plant. It does come with a field alongside it. And like I said, the route round is going to be interesting, to say the least. I will try and fit in everything. I'm likely to miss something. Apologies if I do, but there's a lot to get through and a lot to show you. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to show you on here, the periphery of the map. Let's find the periphery. That's the periphery, which takes it all around the outsides, all the sell points, all the things like that. It is 4,841,580 to buy. I'm personally, I'm one of those people that thinks the periphery, if you are going to have something like that, should be free, because you're not going to save up that kind of money to buy the. It's only really for kind of placeables, maybe if you can put placeables down. Not all maps will allow it. That's a lot of money to save up just to be able to put a few placeables here and there. But that's, again, personal opinion. Bear with me. I'm going to go and get a pickup. I have grabbed a pickup. The missing machinery that I forgot to show you was there. The loading wagon and the trailer are just under there. I will do what I always do. We'll go around to various different sell points, things that I think are points of interest worth noting. Like I said, but this is by no means a comprehensive look. There'll be something I will miss, simply because there's a lot to try and fit in, and I will always show you on the map where we are when we get there. A couple of things as well. Colour palette, nice. It's not, there's not too much. Sometimes you get loads of flowers on a map and it seems too bright and colourful. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, too bright and colourful. I think the splashes of colour are just enough. Lighting in areas can be a bit dark. Bear in mind it's only 8:45. I did speed up time a little bit. I didn't want to go too far because, well, there's a reason. There's a crop that I want to show you, and I was worried that it would be ready to harvest or it would disappear. We go this way. We're going to do kind of a clockwise route round, honestly. You'll see as we go. Because there are so many of these these bits here where you've got roads that go over, roads that go under. And this is what I was talking about. The fences that can be removed are everywhere. If you take them away, you can then, it's much easier to find routes down, because you can cut down the sides of fields, and if you wanted to or if you needed to, it does make life a little bit easier. What we're coming up to is the first of the sell points, and it is the garden market. No, not a sell point. The garden market is a buy point, sorry. So the garden market is a buy point, and we can buy, I think, pretty much everything. Slurry and digestate, we can buy fertilizer, we can buy seed, we can buy fuel. I think that was fuel. Yeah, that was fertilizer, seed. Yeah, so all of these round here are buy points for various products. We have come from the main farm, round out the bottom of the main farm, down this road, under that bridge, under that bridge, turn around there, under that bridge. We're now here. I'm going to cut through the woods because I want to do this route round, and we're going to head up here towards the slaughterhouse and animal dealer. That's where I am going to take the fences out. I'm going to cut across because, as you can see, there's no kind of flowing route. I'll have to come all the way back into here, but then to get up onto that road, to come back round and come back to there, I'd have to go cut across the field and up, or I'd have to follow an entire route round to find a loop that brings me back onto that top road. So it gets a little bit, yeah, it can get a bit confusing. Some people don't mind having fences in place. On some maps there are some fences and some not. It doesn't always bother me, but on this one I think I would probably remove them. So we're going to cut through the bit of forestry. There are, I think, sure it says on the mod hub, 7 or 8 forests of various different sizes that you can buy and do forestry. A couple of locations for selling your lumber. The sawmill for doing your wood chips. Head up onto this main road. I think it's a great idea having the fences removable. Because I know for some people it would be a deal breaker. It would be an absolute, they'd be looking at this now going, no, I'm not playing that. It's just too many fences. I'm not doing it. And so I completely understand why. So something like this here, as we come round to the back of the livestock market, there's not an entrance into the livestock market from this side, which is the kind of frustrating bit. I thought I'd cut round there, but there's a kind of almost like an escarpment, a cliff face round there, which you can't actually get to. So what I'm going to do at this point is we'll go into our menu, we'll go to our garage, and that perimeter fencing I'm going to sell back. I say sell back and own it. Now that can't be undone now, you can't put those back. But as you can see, fence is now all gone, which means I can cut across if I needed to. It's my field, so you know, it's alright. So as we come round into here, livestock market is to this side. Now this, just trying to think, are these on a timer for 9 o'clock? No, sorry, it opens. The livestock market is just here. So for buying, selling, loading or unloading, if you want to do it yourself, and you don't want to be charged a fee. And this side, where it says slaughterhouse, this is a buy point. And here we can buy pig food and we can buy TMR. We'll talk about that in a little while because yeah, the two factories that are fixed in place on this map are the new ones for TMR and pig food, and that may cause some debate, some chat, some questions to be answered. It comes down to factories have been added in, and I think it's brilliant. By erShaba, Vanquish 081, I know Farmer Man used on a production pack as well, to give us more on console, which is absolutely fantastic. I like it, all those things, because it adds something into the game. Now some of those things aren't always cost effective. Some of those things are often cheaper to buy elsewhere if you've got other mods. It doesn't always come down to the cost, it comes down to whether you want to do them or not. We'll talk about that in a little while as well. I think what I'm going to do is cut down here as well, because I need to be on the lower part and we're just about to go over a bridge on a higher part, because the next sale point is the Western Cooperative, which we're going to cut across here. Now there are a few little posts and things around. Those don't have collisions on. But coming in this side, we are at the Western Cooperative, which is one of the sell points. Now's probably a good time to hop onto here, scroll across one, and we can see all the sell points. What we've also got are custom crop symbols. Someone asked me a while back, what mod are you using for those? This is built into the map. The map maker's done these. It's nothing to do with me. But we have sell points. Carpentry is the sawmill. We've got dairy sell point, David the Old Farmer, Fertilizer, local distributor. Now, if you are going for the factories packs, if you scroll across and see all of the stuff here, over to the right, it's all part of the factories packs. That's where you can sell all your palleted stuff from the factories pack, is at the pallet distributor. So again, I've had a lot of people ask me on various map tours when I've done these for erShaba, where am I supposed to sell all these new products? There is one sell point that primarily deals with all of those. Then we've got, now slurry's a weird one. I didn't find it. There's nothing on the map that says slurry. You may have found it, but I didn't. Southern Cooperative, Sugar Industry, Textile Industry, Old Haystack, West Cooperative, which is where we are now. So West, Southern and Northern Cooperative are your main, what I kind of in inverted commas say main sell points. Now, if you're not sure what all of those crop things represent, for the most part, if you go across to the map menu and then look at fruit types, the symbol will match up with whatever it is on there. If I go across one, you've then got the chickpeas icon. Now obviously that doesn't cover all of them, because we have got milk, but there's also sheep milk now, and some of these we've got total mix ration, we've got chaff, wood chips, silage, grass, hay, straw, which are all across the top there. There's obviously fuel, We've got manure and slurry, digestate pig food, lime, chickpeas and tomatoes. The herbicide one is showing as red. I'm not quite sure why. We've got sheep milk, we've got compost, and then we've got all the factories stuff as well. So, yeah, there's a whole load of additional to be looking at. But this is one of the main sell points, the Western Cooperative. From here, we will go probably up a field again, I think. I'll try to skirt around the edge as much as possible to avoid damage to farmers' crops, but where I can. I mean, I'll be honest with you, whilst the road layout is confusing is the wrong word, but it's a really interesting layout and quite intricate and detailed, and I like the different kind of levelling of the map that it brings. I really do like that, so I'm coming back on myself a little bit here, because on the map, if I turn around now, we have got just here now, this says water tower. This is a water point, more of a little reservoir I suppose at the top of the hill, so that's the left there. To the right we've got a silage clamp. There are a few bunker silos / silage clamps, however you refer to them, dotted around the map. That's there, but if we carry along, we'll come to another one in a moment, which is a manure clamp. I think it's in, is it here? What we also have around the map, there are loads and loads of areas like this, which are placeable areas. Now I say that, according to the mods hub, there's no required, it doesn't say any required mods, unless you want the factories, various different factories packs. I have got no mods installed at the moment. All I've got is the map, I've got the disable camera collisions mod, and that's it. The two factories that are on here are built into this one. I've got nothing else. So if you want to have factories, you'd have to have those on. But it doesn't say anything about any required mods. So there are all these placeable areas, and they look like they should have things on them. If they are supposed to, I don't know what they're supposed to have on them. So here we have got, open my menu, if we come in here, it says fill level manure. So these are manure clamps, and you can bring your manure here, exactly the same as you do with chaff and grass, pile your manure up, then go over it, compact it, cover it, and that will turn into compost. So you can do manure to compost at these two silos here. Where are we? Well, we came from the farm, we did the garden market, we did the slaughterhouse animal dealer, we came up here, then we cut across the grass there to the West Cooperative, we came back up, we've just looked at the water, there was the silage clamp just there, we are just here. So just to the side of field 21, we have got this, which is the manure point. Now, to buy it, it's 53,000. I don't know if you have to buy it to be able to use it. The fact that that comes up already, I would say not, but it's not overly expensive to buy if you did have to. So you can create compost. That brings me on to a whole nother can of worms, which we will get onto. We'll kind of discuss at the same time we talk about the factory stuff. It's to do with pricing and the kind of need to do it. And with some of these things, there's not a need to do it, but just makes it a bit more interesting. So, follow the winding road down to the bottom here, which brings us to the first of the animal pens, if you will, and this is the pig farm. Now, so let's close that off. The pig farm here, if I click on L3 now, nothing happens. You have to own the land. For all of the livestock on this map, if you're going to use the ones that are built in, and they are built in, that's 57,000. If I buy that, I know what's going to happen, but what should happen now is, if I go over here and press L3, I get my livestock trigger come up, which is great. That will hold 450 pigs, and we do have our points for feed, for our water, and the bedding I think is inside, if I recall correctly. There's a trigger here which I think is for bedding. Now, on New Farmer and Start From Scratch, no, on Farm Manager and Start From Scratch, these pens won't be here. And be warned as well, if you do what I've just done, no, that one, if I now go to sell that, it will tell me I can't because there are objects still on there. The objects, in buying that land, what I've actually done is also bought the pen that comes with it. So what I've got to do now is sell the pen first, then I can sell the land. But I suppose you can then place any pen you want after that. But again, that's just a word of warning. I can now sell the land. There we go. But the pen is now gone. But then you can place anything you want on there afterwards. Like I say, there are loads of placeable areas all around the map. Which you'll see to my right, we've got a couple already just here. And they look like they kind of were buildings and factories on that have been demolished or something. Like I say, required mods, I don't know if there's, but you know, whether there's a barn set or a building set, or there's supposed to be things on there, or they are deliberately there to look like that, and then you can buy the plots up and do what you want with them. Putting in here, we come to the first of our factories which are installed in the map. This one is the TMR factory. This one, you also need to own the land if you're going to do TMR production. To buy this plot of land is 16,000. And you need to buy it to be able to use it. The same with any of the factories packs. If you haven't seen them before, if you come round to the side, there'll be a marked area. This uses the animal pen system. If I move that and then confirm, this is now active. This factory is now ready to be used. So as far as making TMR goes, what do we need to supply? Now this is where things get a little bit, you'll see in a second. If I go to, no, that's not what I want. We go to our livestock. So at the moment, production of TMR for cows, that's what we've just enabled. We need to supply silage, hay and straw, which for TMR is pretty standard, but we also need to supply the factory with diesel to get everything running. This is where my first problem kind of arises. Now that does say though, on the left hand side, compost and total mix ration. So not only will you make total mix ration, which will appear in pallets and it will look like this, you will also get compost, which will appear over here. So you get compost as a kind of byproduct. That's where you tip everything in that you need. But the problem is, you can buy total mix ration because there's a place to already buy it. You can make total mix ration in bulk with various different mixing machines and feed mixes and stuff like that. To make it here, the cost of diesel then renders it quite expensive, unless they're assuming you're going to use the biodiesel factory to make your own biodiesel, which you supply it with, which you could. It then becomes a very long-winded practice. Now, my only issue with the factories packs, especially with something like TMR and pig food, and we'll see the pig food factory in a little while, is the speed of production. If I'm trying to feed a load of pigs, if I'm trying to feed hundreds of cows, and I want to make a few 100,000 litres of total mix ration, this isn't the way to go about it, because it takes ages for the pallets to fill up. So you can get the factory running, and I love it as an additional thing. Yes, you can make your own TMR. I just think the production needs to be faster. It's just too slow. For me, personally, that is my own opinion. You know, and if we go in and look at our prices, if we go across to our, where are we? Where's the compost one? Compost will pay 489, so that's fine. But TMR, I don't think you can we sell TMR? No. So it is specifically for animals, in which case, yeah, the production may be a little bit slow for you personally, for me. It doesn't detract from the fact it's on here and it's a great addition. I would just like to see the production sped up, that's all. If you're supplying it with hundreds of thousands of litres of whatever it is you need to supply it with, and diesel, you want hundreds of thousands of litres coming out, because otherwise you'll just switch back to using feed mixers or the TMR mixers, and there are quite a few of them about. that you can place, and you can knock out on some of them 300,000 litres in a matter of minutes, you know, so I don't know. Now, continuing north from there, we come to this area on the map which looks like it's snowing. This is a lime quarry. And as we drive around the lime quarry, a little bit like Rasvet, where you can go and do the sand, these piles here you can scoop up and use. Now, again, you need to own the lime quarry. The lime quarry to buy is 223,000, but there's a lot of lime here. A lot of lime. So I suppose technically you are still paying for it, but then once you're done, you could sell the land back, I guess. But there's loads and loads of lime. Again, we'll just cut to a quick picture. I brought a wheel loader up because I was curious. I wanted to know how it works, and yeah, you can just scoop it up with a bucket and load up vehicles or whatever, and you've got lime. Very cool. From here, just very conscious of time, there's a few bits of road network that I've kind of missed out because there's not sell points on them or anything like that. Pretty shouldn't be overtaken on the bend. I knew that was going to happen. That's why you don't overtake on a bend. But with the fences removed, I can cut this corner, which I am going to do. Not detracting away at any point, or failing to mention the fact that the map it's a fantastic map. Other placeables point just to our left. Forestry to our right with a road that kind of winds up the side of the hill because we are at quite an elevation at this part of the map. And now we come to the next set of sell points. First one being just here. Now this is my next query, my next question. If we look on the map, we've come from the quarry, cut across that field, followed this road along. There's the road that winds down. Another placeable point down there. So we're at the old haystack. If we go across one and we go down to the old haystack, we can see that we can sell silage there, but weirdly, of the grass, hay and straw that it shows as icons at the top, it's only giving a price for straw. But weirdly, there are bunkers here for straw, grass, hay and silage bales. So I'm not sure why, when all four are represented, there's only a price given for silage and straw and not the other two. Whether there are supposed to be prices there, I'm not entirely sure. I would think so. But that's the old haystack. So again, this could be one of those where it's going to need a bit of a tweak. Maybe it'll need an update. Maybe you will get paid. The prices just aren't showing. Now, this is the animal pen that is here, but it's not actually showing on the map. The pigs and the cows are, but this is the sheep. Again, this will need to be owned. Have I got enough money to buy this? 58,000 should have. There we go. So now I've bought it. The icon pops up. Your triggers are water trough, just there. Slurry point, because you get slurry from these sheep on this farm here. Wool pallets spawn just there. I'm trying to think if I took a thumbnail of this. Milk from your sheep is from here. You've got these nozzles in the wall. And if we just open this up, you'll see the milk tanks and the nozzles going to the wall. That's quite cool. This is your dialog box, so for buying and selling, loading or unloading. This will take 300 sheep. Straw bedding is done in here, just there. And then your feed goes in here. Now here's the interesting thing with the feed. I think it's been done, obviously, because you're getting milk and silage, slurry and manure. It's been done using the cow one. Now that's interesting that I've got the pen, but nothing's showing. Is it because I've got nothing in it? Let's buy one sheep, shall we? It's got to be Jeremy, hasn't it? Now we'll check. There we go. So you need to provide water and straw, fine. Total mixed ration, silage and hay for the sheep. But you will get sheep milk, slurry, manure. Now it's not showing wool on that screen there, but when I did a test on this yesterday evening. A wool pallet did spawn here with wool in it, so you will get wool as well. So yeah, sheep producing milk and manure and slurry. Very cool. But again, you do need to own the land first. Fuel station, just there. And then down the hill, we come to a whole cluster of sell points. We'll go around the roundabout. This way first, I think. So this is the dairy sell point, just here. Dairy of the Valley. We've then got the pallets production sell point. So that's in here. So anything factory related that comes on pallets can be sold here at this sell point. And then continuing on. Back out to the roundabout to the other two. We've got the Northern Cooperative. Now the Northern Cooperative is a sell point but also a buy point. So we've got the sell point trigger, but we can also buy various different products too. The sell point, I've lost it. Oh dear. Sell point is just there, but we do have buy points for seed and fertilizer. We do have a buy point for was this one manure, or was this pig food and TMR? There's fertilizer under there. This one might have been pig food and TMR as well, if I recall correctly. I'm trying to remember. Oh no, compost and manure here. So we can buy compost and manure. So not only can we make it, we can buy it. Now the compost and manure thing, if you're buying manure, fair enough. If your animals are producing manure, technically it's free. You can use manure and compost on your land, so you can spread it as a fertilizer. The difference here price-wise, if we go across, is that the manure price is 69 at Fertilizer for buying manure, which isn't great, but the compost price is 489, which is actually higher than a lot of biogas payments for silage on most maps. So it is actually kind of worth your while. If you want to sell all your manure, you're better off making it into compost and then selling it, because you'll make more money. I think that's kind of why they've done it. They put the price lower for the manure and higher for the compost for that very reason, because it kind of pushes you down that route of saying, okay, well, I'm better off actually composting this. So this, I think, is Fertilizer. Is that where I am now? Yeah, I'm at Fertilizer, and this is my next query. We go up to the Fertilizer sell point. The only price given at the moment at Fertilizer is for compost. I've got no price for... No, hang on. Sorry, manure and compost. There's no price for anything else, which is odd, because what we've also got here, we've got manure, which is dark. Manure, we've got compost, but we've also got what looks like chaff. Is that a chaff on there? But that's not showing as a price. So I don't know, again, I'm baffled. And if you sell here, I'm assuming you can sell digestate and slurry here, but again, there's no price showing. So yeah, I don't know. The problem is, this was one of those map tools that in the preparation of this, it took me, I'm not kidding when I say hours, to try and check out as much stuff as I possibly could. It just kind of got to a point, I ran out of time, then thinking I could spend a day on this, like playing the map, to find all its kind of innermost secrets. Where have we been? Let's check the map again. So from the old haystack, the sheep pen, down the hill, dairy the valley, pallet distributor, North Cooperative, Fertilizer. We're now heading out here, and we're going to go down this way. We're going to take in the pig food production, then we'll go to the biogas plant, and I'm just looking at the time. Yeah, hopefully we'll get all the rest of these sell points in. The last of the sell points aren't overly complicated. I don't think they're overly complicated. Where do I want to go from here? So, going southeast, over the bridge, and we come to the next of the factories, which is the pig food production, which is just here. So this will also need to be purchased. Sorry, just have to jiggle the finances around a little bit. Once purchased, we can do the same here. We come around to this trigger, move it and confirm it. The factory is now active. If we go into our animals menu and go down one, you'll see that to make pig food, which actually is pretty good, you need to supply with corn, wheat or oats. So only two things, but also diesel. Does that then work out cheaper than buying pig food? Possibly. It's certainly, when you normally have to provide your pigs with all the different feed types, it won't require as much, which is pretty good. Now I'm pretty sure as far as the pigs went as well, the new crop tomatoes I think are part of what you can feed the pigs as well. So it kind of makes them a bit more useful. Oh yeah, screenshot, something to show you. When you are making your pig food, it will look a little bit like this. Sorry, just trying to get everything in. So yeah, diesel goes in there. Your corn, wheat or oats goes into there, and you'll start making pig food. Same problem is that, again, if you've got a few pigs and the pig pen will hold 450, it just produces way too slow to keep up with what your pigs need. That's yeah, that is the only downside to it. But it is what it is. So from here, let's go this way. We're going to go to the biogas plant. To a rather winding route to get to it. Up through some more woodlands, get the lights on. And like I said, the lighting in some of the areas, it is, the shadows are quite dark in places, even when the sun's like fully up. And so as we come to the biogas plant, which is just here, what we are going to do is take a quick look at the tomato crop. This field is growing tomatoes. Now they are a bit two-dimensional in places, but a little bit like the fruit trees, those kind of things. But it's now the crop, which brings me on to, probably now is the time to talk about it. As far as planting certain crops go, under planters, if you want to plant tomatoes, planters will do tomatoes. They will also do chickpeas. If you want to do chickpeas, seeders will also do chickpeas. So you can do chickpeas with either planter or a seeder. But if you want to plant tomatoes, you need to use a planter. That will put the tomatoes in the ground. To harvest them, regular harvest headers will do your chickpeas. But to harvest tomatoes, you need to go to Beet Technology. And there is a modified Rootster 604 at the end, the Tomato Edit, special edition for tomatoes. So is the Grimmer Rootster 604, and that's got a 10,000 litre capacity, and that will be what you would use for harvesting your tomatoes when they are ready. There's no other harvester or anything that does it. That's the one that's been put in here under Beet Technology for harvesting tomatoes. But that's rather nice. I like the fact that's been added in. It took me ages to find that. I went all over the place. What I am going to do very quickly, because I need to buy this as well. Sorry, I just borrowed a load of money. If we go to the map, we've come from the pig food, down that slope, round the back, followed us all the way up. We're at the biogas plant. Biogas plant, 248 grand. If we buy that, we now own it. If we go across one, and it says now it should have the Great Biogas of the East. Look at the price for silage. 1,619 it's paying for silage. Now the only other thing it takes, and it's saying there that it doesn't take grass, hay, straw, It doesn't take manure, but it does take slurry, it says there. And the slurry price is 1,619. So it's paying the same for silage as it does for slurry. That's quite profitable depending on what kind of thing you're going to be getting into. But and there's nothing, it doesn't take potatoes, sugar beet or anything else like that. Just those things. Interesting. I would always advise anybody, I do often get comments, people saying on certain maps, where do I sell certain things? That's the map screen you want to go into. You want to go to the sell points, find the particular item it is you're trying to sell, then scroll up or down the sell points and it should be there. Now some maps, and this one, like I say, there have been a few omissions maybe. There'll be things missing that it's not giving you a price for. Often that's when you'll find the map gets an update and they'll be added in. On our right here is David the Old Farmer. That sell point is for, now again, it's got a price for straw but not for hay. This is exactly what I was talking about. But we do have a barn of each here. So there's that grate there, there's that grate there. I assumed here, again, this was a sell point for grass and hay and straw. But it's only given a price for straw. Again, not sure why. It's not, I haven't got seasons on. It's not like I've got something running that prevents those from having prices, but I'm not too sure. Heading all the way down now to the southern part of the map. Now this is a little bit like the Chellington map tour. It's going to be slightly longer than other ones, just simply the amount of sell points and the amount of things, the amount of information to try and fit in. Turn right down here. This is the sugar industry sell point, where you can sell your sugar beet and your sugar cane. Just there. So as we come around the southern part of the map, what's interesting is on the right hand side, if you look at the mini map at the bottom, there's an icon showing there for what looks like a vehicle, but it's not showing in your inventory as something you own. Again, I think this is going to be something that if you come onto on Farm Manager or start from scratch, the machine won't be here. We have a crane. Now this is a sell point for lumber. You can tell that because we've got this icon just here, which is the sell bit. But what's really cool about this is we've got a pit. Now that pit has got logs in the bottom. That's to indicate to you that that's where you sell them. If you throw the logs into there and then click on that, you sell them. A little bit like a mill pond, but a mill pit. And the crane is operational. So we can move the crane in its various different directions. So we can unload logs, throw them in that pit, and you can sell them. That's a nice touch, something a bit different. From here, trying to think the best route from here. This just gets so complicated. As if by magic, I'm down on the lower road, and we've then got another sell point out here. So I mean, there are so many. They are right out in the corners. This is the Southern Cooperative. Sell point is just there. Now, unlike the northern one, this is a bit more like the western one. This is just a sell point. The northern one has got buy points at it as well. This one is primarily, well, it is, yeah, a sell point, not a buy point. From here, we need to wind our way down. Cut across here. Another great reason for taking the fences out. There are, like I say, there are some bits where there are tracks and roads, but not always. So round underneath here, we've got a fuel station just there, and we've got our dealership, our main store point just here. Now with this one, we have got the buy point trigger just inside there. It looks like it's sunken in a little bit. The bottom of the door's missing. But we've got the trigger is just in here for your workshop. Now the workshop itself, the trigger is here. So you put your vehicles on there, but then to get it to access it, you have to go in there and use the trigger in there. A bit fiddly, maybe a bit annoying, I don't know. Maybe it adds a bit to the narrative, but again, however you feel about it is up to you. This is also the reset point, so if anything gets stuck or you have a problem and you need to reset something, it will reset back here. Next to the sell points is the ranch sell point, which is just on the left here. Now this one's got me a bit puzzled because there is a sell point. The sell point is just there. Don't think there's one on the other side. There seems to be some hay and stuff on the floor, a straw on the floor. But if we go into our menu, there's no ranch sell point showing on here. Unless that's the slurry one? I wouldn't have thought so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you can sell there. I did then wonder if it was a buy point. I came down with the trailer and went into the buy point thinking it was that. Couldn't get anything to work. So yeah, the ranch one, that's a bit of a quandary at the moment for me personally. So carpentry, this is your sawmill. Lumber point, put your lumber in that trigger there and then go there to get paid for your lumber. And then wood chips are around the side here. That's your sawmill. These are the last few, I promise. Told you there was a lot. I said right at the start. It's a fantastic map. It's got loads of features. There are a few queries, I guess. I know people will put them in the comments because unlike you guys, I have been on it and playing on it for all intents and purposes, trying to unlock all this stuff to do a map tour, then prepping to do a map tour and making all my notes and stuff like that. If you guys have just been on playing, just playing on it for hours and hours and hours, you probably may have a slightly better understanding with some of the sell points than I do. But this is the spinnery. So the spinnery sell point up here for your cotton and your wool. Sell point is just around the corner there, which I think brings me to one last point we need to get to. Where have we been on the map for the last little while? From David, the old farmer, down the road into the sugar industry, back out, round the bottom there to where the crane and the pit is for the log selling. We then came down onto this road, round to the Southern Cooperative, up here, and we cut down off the top road to the bottom road. Fuel station, shop, ranch, carpentry, wood sell point and wood chip sell point. Then we came up this road here round to textile industry. What we're going to do now is head round underneath out to the cows, and I think that's all the sell points. There are placeable points. There's one here which looks like a split level farm. I tried off camera buying these plots to see if things popped up, if there were any other triggers. I haven't come across any more, but there are loads of those placeable areas knocking about, which if you come onto here on Farm Manager or Start from Scratch, does give you a lot of scope for where you want to put your farm. But again, that does come with that word of caution that you then won't have access to a lot of the stuff that is here on New Farmer. So whizzing out, hopefully to the last one. I'm looking at my timer thinking, will this all fit in once edited? I hope so. So, cow farm is split across the road, just here. What I'm going to show you at this point is a quick video clip I took of the cows crossing. How lovely. It's a very, very big pasture, and the cows kind of roam all the way off up, and you know, it's very nice. Your milk point, where you collect your milk from, is that side of the road, as is the manure pit. Again, this needs to be owned if you are going to use it. We have a silage clamp just to the left. Triggers are spread around. We've got a manure point just there. We've got our feed, and I think straw goes in this one because I couldn't get the door to open. Now, I haven't bought this plot, but to get this trigger to work, you need to buy the plot. I'm pressing L3 now, nothing's happening. This will hold 400 cows, and your water trough is round the side there. So milk and manure across the road, slowly around the side there. Water trough, feed trough, and as far as I can tell, straw, because I can't open this, so it's not like you can put straw inside. Another nice large area. As far as placeables go on this, I haven't been able to check every single part of the map. That's just not something that you can't check everywhere on a map. Trying to think. I'm looking down my list. I think I've covered everything I intended to cover. Have I covered everything? That remains to be seen. So yeah, from there we took that winding road all the way out to here. If you buy this plot, it's 256,000, but like I say, it is split across the road, and this pasture up here is huge. It goes all up here. But placeable areas here and here, placeable areas here, placeable there, placeable there, placeable areas here. There are loads of them around the map for you to have fun with. That is CHAMBERG Valley Productions, the factories one. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.